Alright, let's go ahead and erase that last one we had here. And we'll put the lightning bolt back into the scene. We'll drop it up here. I'll move the player just off to the side for a moment. So for the lightning bolt, I'll actually move it down here so you can see the end of it. Let's go to the properties. We'll take a look at some of the things it can do. So the first one, in terms of lightning settings, we have a enable and start. You can also enable on trigger if you want to. The other option is, now this one, this is actually going to be a couple of things that control the rendering of this in terms of how it actually produces the lightning bolt. So the segment distance, currently it's set to 10. What that means is that it's going to create a poly here, one here, one here. The lower the number means more. It's going to create more polys going down. So performance-wise, the lower you get, the higher it's going to be. Also notice the lower you get, the segments are able to actually kind of create more of a zigzag pattern. With that, you can actually increase, for instance, the segment spread. If I wanted to, if I started to increase this outwards, notice it's going to start jumping further out left and right for it. Okay. Now if we do take this in, just so we can kind of keep it focused on the center here, we could also do a close bolt, but we can have a lot of zigzag pattern amount to it. So if I was to take the zigzag up, what this is going to do is just create as much as it can. It'll just be more of a random pattern to it, creating any kind of a zigzag pattern going through it. And then as we start to increase this, now that it's on there, and start to notice even more of that kind of jittery pattern going through. Now, to see it a whole bunch, if you take your segment down to 1, now what you're probably going to see when it starts to flash, do you see how it like lots of little ripply pieces? So that's going to be usually found in the 1 to 2 range. When you start taking your segments back up though, notice how all of a sudden I take it to 10, and even though I have, for instance, I can set my segment horizontal to 100, do you notice how it's barely moving any direction? However, if I take it down, it starts to go all over the place. So just kind of note that when there's only 1, 2, 3 segments, and so if you do a segment of 10, that's basically saying you have 3 polys right here. So it's not going to be a huge amount of notice on the horizontal or the zigzag, but the lower you go, that's going to be when you start noticing these 2 values hold a lot more importance for the shape of it. Alright, and then next to that one, that's going to be the cooldown time. So let's go ahead and make, we'll go for about there on it. Let's see, we'll go for about a 7 so we can see it. The cooldown time, the minimum time is 0. What we could do is say that cooldown is actually half a second to cool down, and then the max we could actually take up, we'll say it takes nearly 3 seconds to cool down. So what that means is that once it strikes, you have anywhere from half a second to a full 3 seconds before the next strike happens. Now, once it strikes, you can actually say time per strike. We'll say that when it does strike, it takes 2 seconds before it goes away. So then you have this cool strike, and then it kind of starts to fade out for it. Alright, and then the default target height, what we looked at before, if you have the brush inside the scene, then it's going to use this value as the default value for it. So you can create quite a bit of a difference in terms of the bolt and its usage. Even if you were to say the cooldown time was 0 to half a second, you're going to get a lot more strikes, but they're still all going to strike and take 2 seconds before they go away from there. Alright, so that's going to be the basic setup for the lightning in terms of being able to manipulate the bolt left and right horizontally, producing the zigzag patterns and doing the cooldown and times per strike.